Hey guys and gals, boys and girls, authors and author wannabes. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Your old buddy Tim back as usual with something a little different. Starting a series today with a friend of mine. His name is Johnny Andrews, and Johnny is the founder of an amazing website service called authorplatformrocket.com. Johnny works with over 17,000 authors, helping manage their advertising, their Facebook ads, that sort of thing. He is one of the top experts on the topic of book marketing. And so he and I got together, we were chatting, and we've decided to do a series. We're calling it Book Marketing 101, and it's going to be multiple episodes. We're going to start out, the one you're about to see right now is on book marketing. What is book marketing? A lot of authors don't have a clue. And then we're going to do additional shows on marketing for fiction, marketing for nonfiction, Facebook ads, Amazon ads. We're really going to dive into book marketing because this is such an important part of what you and I do. Writing the books is not enough. You got to market the damn thing. So that's what this series is about. So we're going to start out now with really quickly. It's only about a half hour. So get you a cup of coffee, listen in. And we're going to talk about what we're going to do on the program. And we're also going to talk about what is book marketing. And if you don't know, buddy, you need to watch this. So let's get it going. This is Book Marketing 101 with me and my buddy, the expert on the topic of book marketing and building an author platform, Johnny Andrews. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome to the program. Tim Knox here. As always, bringing you what I like to call wit, wisdom, and advice on the topics of authoring, editing, agenting, all those ING words that go into producing a book. And today, we are going to talk about another ING word, marketing. The topic of this show and a series of videos that we're going to do is going to be on the topic of book marketing. And you know, when I start thinking about book marketing, I think about all those experts out there, and then I realize, you know what? I probably got the best expert on the topic of book marketing right here with me right now with his mohawk and everything, Johnny Andrews. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. Thank you very much. That was quite the intro there.
How was that intro? Yes. Has anyone ever mentioned your mohawk in an intro
Not directly.
before?
Not directly. Someone mentioned that I looked like I had something of a receding hairline, which I probably do. I'm getting up there in years now, so we'll see.
You know what I always say is my hair's not receding, but my forehead's growing like a bitch. So
you know what it is? It's the cranial capacity pushing the forehead out.
They say that the brain power kills hair follicles.
Exactly.
Of course, Dale Roberts, believes that, but I don't think it's true in his case. So, hey, in all seriousness, now what I want to talk to you about, and again, I'd like to do a series of these videos, of kind of stepping out of what I normally do here on YouTube. Normally, Johnny, I talk about the production of the book, the writing, the craft itself, and typically I kind of leave off at the door of marketing because I got to be honest with you, brother, it makes my head hurt. I'm one of those old authors that just likes to write that book and put it out there for folks like you to take it. But I get a lot of people leaving comments and requests asking about marketing. So you and I had this discussion, and we decided it would be really cool to just kind of do a whole series of videos based around the topic of marketing a book, either fiction or nonfiction. So, hey, before we get started, other than the mohawk, what do the folks need to know about you?
I mean, there's really not much else.
That's it, huh?
Yeah, totally. It's all about the mohawk. But no, I am the founder of Author Platform Rocket. I've been doing this thing, let's call it, since probably 2004. Not Author Platform Rocket, but the online publishing marketing thing since 2004. Let's call it 2006 successfully. Currently working with, it's growing rapidly, but just under 17,000 authors.
Wow.
And around 20,000 entrepreneurs and whatnot with in a variety of ways and different kinds of things. But what basically the concept of Author Platform Market is exactly what you're talking about. It's the marketing for authors. how to do that, both fiction as well as nonfiction. And when I'm talking nonfiction, I should probably, preface this. What I'm talking about are like, speakers, coaches,
Mm-hmm.
The authors who are using a book as sort of a gateway drug to a larger business.
Yeah. Those that are building that platform, hence the term. But you know what? A lot more fiction authors these days are also building that platform. They're not doing, the speaking aspect of it, but nowadays, gosh, to sell books, there's just so much more to it than just writing. You really do have to have that platform. You have to build that audience because, gosh, it's not Field of Dreams. Just because you write it doesn't mean anybody's going to pick it up. So how did you get started doing the book marketing stuff?
Oh man, it's when I was self-publishing before Kindle was even invented, and it was pretty much I would instead of writing books and whatnot, I would just have downloadable stuff, set up a website, send traffic to it, get some partners, everyone to kind of promote and that kind of thing. And it was a series of just like how-to books and videos. I did a lot of like how to do affiliate marketing, how to do search engine optimization. It was basically the majority of what I was publishing it's what I do now is the psychology blended with the mechanics behind how to achieve an outcome and that kind of thing. So it's, it really just happened because I was essentially unemployable. And so I'll give you kind of the backstory behind the backstory. So back in the day, I want to say 2000, maybe 2-ish. I can't even, like the dates are all fuzzy because it was a crazy time. I was actually homeless for an entire year. I was trying to
Were you really?
Oh yeah. I was trying to make it in real estate, and I had just left my girlfriend, which we're still friends to this day, not because of this decision, but
yeah.
but I was like, I was like 300 pounds. I was basically diabetic. I was completely broke all the time, and I was miserable. And I'm like, I have to do something different. And so I'm like, I'm just going to go. And I lived in this tiny little office. It was about the size of like a full-size sedan. And I would oscillate between that office and my 2001 Honda Civic. And I'm thinking, this is going to be great. I'm just going to do this. It's no big deal. 3 months tops, maybe a week. Who knows? Well, it turned out to be like a year. And what I was doing was I was, trying to do mortgages. This was the broker's office, let's call it. And at the same time doing real estate investment. And I was 2 weeks away from this series of deals that was about, once I had closed on these things, it would have set me up for life. I had like perfect credit. That was the only thing that I had going for me. Mm-hmm. And I got a call from the underwriter 2 weeks before these things were going to close, pretty much saying it's like, we can't give you the loans because you have lates showing up on your mortgage. I'm like, what part of I'm homeless? Well, it turns out that this dude named Rodrigo Lopez had stolen my identity, used it to close on a house, and was late on his mortgage payments. And so that was reflecting on my credit report. Wow. And so it would literally, and I had all my money like invested in these deals. And so what little I had. And so what ended up happening was I like went into beast mode to try to fix this. But it was one of those things where it was just too late and just boom, pretty much overnight got completely wiped out. And so I had to overdraw my bank account by $200 to go put enough gas in my car to drive from St. Charles, Illinois to Asheville, North Carolina, where my parents had just retired. And this was during Christmas. It was Hail the Triumphant Return of the Entrepreneur. And if they could know, because this is what's crazy. Is my parents had never really endorsed. Now they do, because they see they see all what's going on and stuff. Mm-hmm. But at the time, and before that, it was like they hated it. I come from a family with like now 6 PhDs. They're very academic. I was adopted. And so it was literally like you could not get more different. Right. And they never really were into this kind of thing. So it was a lot of scolding and whatnot. So basically,
don't you hate the "I told you so's"? That's the worst, right?
I do. Well, they were up on me for that one.
Yeah.
But what happened was, I literally couldn't get a bank account because I had overdrawn that one. I didn't have enough money to fix it. And on top of that, I couldn't get a job because, in the financial thing, which is what I was doing, they all check your credit. Like, dude, you're a nightmare because everything was gone. So I had like probably $65,000 in debt, just real bad, nasty delinquent debt. I had creditors like every 14 seconds, like blowing up my phone. And it was just like literally the quintessential, what the heck? And so I'll fast forward a little bit to cut this short, but I had to figure out how to make money, essentially, if I wanted to eat. And I started publishing these. I had a failed business in the meantime, but what I did learn was how to do search engine optimization, because we didn't have enough money for ads. Like, we were trying to do radio, and that just went south. And then, we were out of cash. Great. And so I'm like, well, how do I get traffic? And I started looking into this stuff and learned how to do search engine optimization, learned a little bit about internet marketing, and so I wrote these reports. And I would publish them. I'd sell them for like $10 and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it would go. The only way that I was able to use, I got that little PayPal debit card.
Yeah.
And so that evolved. And literally, I would sell something, go to the grocery store, get some sandwiches, bring them back, sell some more stuff so I could eat the next day. And this evolved over several years to where that I started going to ClickBank and creating different products. And then I would get affiliates to promote me. And I just remember there were, I would have to go to the currency exchange because I didn't have anything that they could drop that money into. And so every week I'd get this check, and I go to the currency exchange. You got the dudes like, with the teardrops on their faces and stuff. And over the course of time, these checks just started getting bigger. And so I remember one day I slid this $14,000 check to the dude behind the bulletproof glass, and he picks up the phone and he's like, "It's that guy again." And they're like, "Clear it." And so I'd get, some cash and then these, whatever cashier checks or whatever they called them. Mm-hmm. And it just kept going and going and going. And one day I woke up and I was going to go to the gym, and I went into my sock drawer and I had an envelope with like $64,000 in there. And it kind of like made me realize, I'm like, oh my God, I need to get my act together because this is not okay. And so I ended up like really hyper focusing, and with no credit, no bank account, literally no formal training of anything, ended up building this fairly successful business. Today, almost 800 level credit score. I actually have a bank account. It's like,
you know what I love about your story is, and I'm an old entrepreneur. I was in a variety of businesses probably for about 25 years before I formally retired. That is how, that is the quintessential self-made entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Homeless, living in his car, up to his ass in debt, had nothing going for him but his brain and his stubbornness. My dad always told me, "Boy, you are too dumb to quit." And that's what's going to make you succeed. That's exactly. And I hear that so much, but you and I was never homeless, but when it came to the online marketing stuff, we kind of followed a similar path, because I had very successful software businesses. I got interested in information marketing. And this was back when eBay first came out, back in the dark ages. And I did the exact same thing. I got in, I learned it quick. I started writing these little reports on how to make money on eBay. And I remember, Johnny, the first time I sold one, and this was back, they didn't have downloadable things. You had to put it on a CD and put it in an envelope and ship it to people. And I think I was charging $8. And I was living in a pretty nice house, driving a Mercedes, and I sold that first $8 CD, and it was like, the clouds parting. And I remember running through the house. Yeah, my wife's like, what's going on? Wait, and I'm like, I just sold one of my reports. And she goes, "Wow, how much?" And I'm like, "Well, $8." And she's like, But you know what? It was exactly. Validation of the concept. It was proof to me that really did work. And I think I sold several $100,000 worth of those silly CDs over the course of 2 years. And then, thank God, downloadable PDFs came along.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, but I think where we're going now with the book marketing is what you really hit on there is along the way you learn to market, and not just market products, but market yourself, because especially if you're an author, the very first thing you got to sell people is you, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, you kind of learn that along the way. So I think that's one of the reasons I'm excited to do this series with you, because Jesus, who's been there, done that more than Johnny Andrews?
Well, there's plenty of people out there that I know a lot of these guys that have, gotten the crap kicked out of them through life and whatnot. And it's just, you're right. It's just like you just have the tenacity to sort of just continue doing it.
It's a great motivating factor. There's so many, especially these young guys now that are doing, FBA and a lot of the Amazon stuff, same kind of story. But, and again, not to blow smoke up your skirt, but 99% of people would not have taken that step. They would have gone and got a job. They would have gone and worked in their dad's hardware store or something.
Well, listen, it's not for lack of trying, though. I went to 68 interviews. And if you want a really funny caveat, so I am college educated. I did get a degree. And I'm not going to make you guess. I'm just going to tell you, how unemployable I've been my entire life. The first job, the only job, I went to 68 interviews. Everybody turned me down. I couldn't even deliver pizza. It was crazy. And they wouldn't let me be a cashier. Like I started actually going for stuff and I'm like, oh, I have a degree, hey, look at this, the doors are opening. My first job, the only job that I could get was and I did it as a joke, and it turned out like within a couple of days, I was like their top dude, but I worked for the psychic hotline because
that's hilarious.
I
knew that.
Never took a paycheck from them though. But I'll tell you that story later. But like basically the interview was, I sat across from this lady and she's like, can you read? I'm like, minds? She's like, no, English. I was like, yeah, I got that one pretty.
That's great.
Down. And she's like, you're hired. I was like, wow. Okay.
That's amazing. So Johnny, tell me where we're going next.
Well, I don't know. I lost my powers in a terrible swimming accident.
There you go. Hey, let's get on topic then. Let's talk about book marketing, because we are again, we're going to do a whole series of these, and I thought the best thing to do would be start out with the basics. What, and again, you got to keep in mind the audience that we're talking to. They're people like me. I'm an old author. I had a successful business, but I always hired a marketing guy. I didn't never do that myself because I'm not that smart. So when it comes to actually writing and selling books, marketing is such a huge piece of it. And there's so many different ways to do it. And again, we're going to get into a lot of different ones as we go through, but talk a minute about, in your mind as an author, someone who actively sells books, define the term book marketing.
Well, really, it's just the act of getting books in front of an audience. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's the simplest thing that's also the most complex and maddening, that it's this one action of taking this and swiping it in front of people, and a certain percentage of them are going to go, ooh, look at that, and they're going to take it. That's really the beginning and the end of the definition. It's but there's so many different facets of it and so many different things you can do. Yeah.
Are you, I was talking to Dave Chesson, and he made a comment that you need to start marketing, or at least thinking about marketing your book even before you write it. Do you believe that?
100%, especially with nonfiction people. I mean, that's kind of the modus operandi behind almost everything that we do is wait, don't do it yet. Like for example, the one step most people don't think of, they're like, oh, I should have a book. And maybe, if they're fiction, maybe they just have a story idea or something like that. They just kind of want to go for it. That's cool, fine, but wait. But if they're in nonfiction, they want to have a book because, on the interwebs, everybody's telling them, oh, you need this thing to help promote your business, to put you in authority, to blah, to blah, to blah, to blah. Great. Wait, what is the end goal with this? Like, what do you actually want to do? What is the purpose of the book? Because in that regard, a book, the marketing of it begins with the framing, and I have I was telling you earlier, like I literally wrote 2 books in 2 days that, they're in editing right now and all that fun stuff. But, I've created a process behind that where it begins with these questions. Who are you? Who do you serve? How do you serve them? And we can touch on this stuff a little bit later, because that's mostly for nonfiction when you're going to use this book as a tool. But in that regard, still the book, it's not just book marketing; it's the book as marketing.
I love that. It's the book as a marketing piece.
Yeah, it's a piece of your bigger picture. And I think what most people don't understand, or probably don't have the background or experience to even understand, is that there is a broad spectrum of things that go into all of that. And it's from what are you doing on Facebook? Are you doing Instagram? What are you doing in Pinterest? Like all these things. What is your book doing? How is it published? What is the purpose of it? And then if you touch on it in fiction, it's a very similar concept, because you have to look at the bigger question you have to ask is not just, can I write a book, but can I do it again and again and again and again? And so if you're just getting started, don't worry about it. Because you need 2 rituals if you're going to be in fiction. And that's a daily writing ritual and a daily marketing ritual. If you fail in either one of those things, you're not going to make it. Because if you're not putting out 4 books a year in fiction, you're not going to make it. And I know a lot of people are like, but you can't write fast to produce a quality book. I call BS. In fact, I say, if you don't write fast, you probably won't produce a good book, because it'll take you 6 years to do it. But that's so within that bubble, you then have to look at, who am I writing for? Where are they? What are they reading? And you have to really start creating on both fiction and nonfiction. Who is your avatar? What is this? You write for a person. If you're doing, I don't know, alpha bad boy biker romance. Not that I have. I pretend
not that you've ever read those.
Not that I've even read those. Oh, we have so many clients that do this stuff. It's cool. But if you're going to do that kind of book, you have to you have to know who your audience is, because when you're writing what they want to read, guess what they do? They buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you really have to start. Who is it? Someone said you have to start with the end in mind. I think when you're a writer, you have to start with the audience in mind.
Yeah.
And really, and you make a really good point, because there are different approaches depending on whether you are doing fiction or nonfiction. And I think that at some point the marketing method behind them meets, but the way you write the book, the way you set up the platform are completely different. So, I want to do an entire show on just nonfiction and maybe more on fiction itself. But I think one of the things that you mentioned really struck a nerve with me is you've got to treat this like a business. I preach about that to writers more than anything else. The days where you could just write a book and hope to sell a bunch of them are gone. You really have to be an entrepreneur now, probably more than you have to be a writer, don't you think?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what it is the book isn't, it's the book as marketing. It's your business. Yeah. It's actually not your business, which is funny. It is, you are in a business, but the book is not your business. The book is a product.
Yes.
Your business is audience building. You are an entertainer. That's what your business is. And so if you start shifting your mindset away from what, your business as an author to more of your business as, as this entertainer, someone who brings people unto them and then delivers this, Kevin Hart, for example, hilarious stand-up comedian. So he's an entertainer. You're in the same business he is. It's just, you're finding out who these people are, and you're just bringing them into you, and then you present the product. And that's all it really is and be prepared to be giving something. This is a big one, because I have authors all the time, when we're talking like for an agency program or whatever, whatever. They're like, oh, I don't like giving away books for free. I spent too much time doing it. I'm like, well, give them something, because if you want to differentiate yourself, you have to differentiate yourself. And the best way to do that is it could be a short or like a prequel or something. It doesn't have to be full length, but it has to be awesome. And I have gone on to buy the entire back catalog of an author because I read one free short story that led me into this bigger world. And I was like, this is so good. And it would just, and they're like, full price books, and I don't care because I want them. And that can work for you. If you write it and it's good, and it's the same thing with nonfiction. If you're speaking directly to your ideal target market, awesome. And what's really great about this stuff is is looking at this, the entire ecosystem of marketing, is you can be giving away other kinds of things. And I'm sort of shifting a little bit more into nonfiction.
That's fine.
Where let's say, for example, you're in personal growth. Like, for example, we have an ecosystem now that does memory training. It's going to be doing, goal setting, memory training, like all these different courses within the personal development umbrella. And part of our engagement strategy within the marketing of this is to be doing about 2 Facebook Lives per day that are very, like, one of them is very short, extremely, like, we're going to take one problem that our market has, we're going to solve that. And then the other one is going to be more of a how-to, a little bit broader spectrum. And so we're just going to continuously burp this content into being, and it's all going to be directly related to the course. And so the next logical idea is, wow, if this is what they're giving away, imagine what they're charging for.
Right.
Kind of thing. And so we're also working on a book for this. We used, it was before I had my method. So it's taken a little bit longer in editing than we like, but that's okay. Now that we have my method, we're all good.
Yeah.
We're all good for the next book, mind you.
Yeah.
But we're going to be using that book then as a lead generator, because we publish it broad. And so if you're, in business, you have a back end product that book is pre-framing, it would behoove you not to be doing Kindle Unlimited, because you're not, that book isn't there to make you money.
Yeah.
And so this is another huge thing is you have to understand the bigger picture concept of the business that you're in. What is the role that this book plays in the larger picture? Because if you're and this happens with fiction authors, because they're typically very, very, very focused on making money with the books. Whereas nonfiction is, you can lose money on the front end. You can lose a couple bucks pushing that book, because if you're selling like some like $3,000 consulting package or whatever it is, that you can lose money on a lot of those books and still make a killing every time you get a new client. And so, with fiction, it's a little different, because you have to be like, okay, you have to really look at your sell-through rate, and you have to, I wouldn't even start marketing the book itself until I had a big enough audience to make a dent. And so what I would probably do in terms of a strategy, if I was going to do fiction and I only had one book, is I would work my butt off on that daily writing ritual and get myself, and this might take a year, I don't know, but get yourself to the point where you have 10,000 really awesome subscribers that you have built by giving that book away for free. So you're going to lose money before you see a dime in return. It doesn't need to be expensive, but you have to understand that that business is, it's going to take longer than you expected. It's going to be a lot harder. You're going to make mistakes. And if you're in that first year of it, that's called cutting your teeth. You're going to take your lumps. Every time I do something for the first time, I always come out like, oh my word, can I fix this tooth? Like I got nailed with that one. Like it still happens to this day. I've put stuff out into the world. Like I like to think I know what I'm doing, but I've had stuff that's completely blown up in my face. I'm like, wow, I am not doing that again.
Yeah. So much of this is about mindset. And again, okay, the fiction author and the nonfiction author, they have two very separate or very different products and very different mindsets. The fiction author, his books are his products. I mean, primarily that's how the fiction author is going to make the money. That's how they're going to build the tribe. They're going to have the backlist. But the nonfiction author, the books are more of a marketing tool, which primarily a lot of these guys, they use the books as a lead generator or something just to get people in their funnel where they can then make a hell of a lot more money on coaching and that sort of thing than they can just selling books. But I think it is a very important point that you make there, Johnny, is that mindset. You got to figure that out going in. And I really like what you're talking about there, where if you're a fiction author, you really need to spend some time writing and get some products out there, because and this was the Hugh Howey model. Hugh, who is like the most famous, successful, self-published author on the planet. When I had him on the show, he said, my plan was to write books, and he didn't even market them. He would write them, he'd publish them, he'd go write another one. And in his mind, once he got 5 or 6 books in his backlist, if one of those books took off, then they'd have something else to go read. It's exactly what you said. If I read an author and I really like it, I'm going to go see what else they've got. And that's exactly what happened with Hugh. I think he was 7 or 8 books in when Wool finally generated an audience.
I read the crap out of those.
Oh yeah. And then his entire backlist started selling, and that, but so many authors, they write that one book and then they get out there and they spend every nickel they have on marketing, and usually without learning how to market. And it doesn't work. They get discouraged and they never write another book.
Well, in fiction at that moment, it's the wrong time to do it. And I tell you, I get so many people. You should just see our support department sometimes with like requests for all sorts of things. And we work with, we work through Readsy also, which is an awesome platform. And I've done some Facebook Live with them to kind of help to better, stave off this problem. But pretty much daily, not so much anymore since I did the talk about, okay, this is when you hire a marketing person. But pretty much daily across everything, I have these like zygote level questions coming, and you can just tell this person has no concept of what they're doing. And typically the response is, if they're in fiction, I give them links to write, publish, repeat. I think that is literally the Bible of self-publishing when it comes to fiction authors. Nothing, in my opinion, has ever, it is the best. I read it like 5 times, even though I haven't written fiction in years. That, and then I give them, just links to the podcast where it's like, okay, this is your mindset. This is what you need to expect. And after they are indoctrinated, a lot of them quit because they weren't ready for that. It's like, oh, I'm not even, because you have a choice. You can be a hobbyist and there's nothing wrong with that, but don't, you have to really temper your expectations. Because I think a lot of people get into this thinking, if I write something, the world will beat a path to my door.
Yeah.
That will not be the case ever, ever, ever. Like, it is so hard, and there's so much work that goes into this, especially on the fiction end. I mean, we work with some of the higher level agency people doing 6 figures a month in book sales and things like that. Well, a lot of them took a long time to get there. Very few of them woke up one day and said, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to write this huge sci-fi series, and I'm going to suddenly be awesome and famous." No, what they did was they spent years, probably 3 years at least, just getting their books out there.
Yeah.
finding their audience, learning how the two things like gel up together. And then they spent tons of time and tons of money learning how to do things like Facebook ads. And it's, there's a learning curve if you've ever seen one,
Yeah, those Facebook ads, man. I'm just going to call you. I'm not going to. Really quickly, the time we have left, I want to talk a little bit more about what we're going to cover on future shows. But one of the things that I'm seeing a lot now in fiction is the rapid release. Especially you see this a lot in sci-fi and some of the other genres like that, where they'll release, let's say they're doing a 4-book series, they'll release the first book, and then 2 weeks later they'll release the second, and then 2 weeks later they release the third, and then 2 weeks later so really they're releasing 4 full-length books within about a month and a half, 2-month period, and getting that hopefully that massive traffic quickly. Your thoughts on that? Because I've seen it work wonderfully and I've seen it fail terribly.
Right. I mean, those my thoughts are kind of the same thing. If it's working for you, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We have clients who are doing a book a week. Obviously, some of those are working with ghostwriters and things like that. But even people who write their own stuff. Especially in romance, I call it, like, I really love that genre, but I also kind of refer to it not in a derogatory way, but like the petri dish of book marketing. Because what it is, it's like, if you think about bacteria in its life cycle, like, it's going to grow up and die and grow up and die and grow up and die. And there's going to be like 85 generations of evolution happening in this little dish in a very short period of time. And the same thing is happening inside of like romance, where they're just constant output into this market. And so you get to see the like ideas be spawned, grow into these teenagers, and then die, and then something else takes its place. And it just happens so quickly. Whereas the other genres are still kind of like, something that stopped working in romance 2 years ago is probably brand new there. And sci-fi or whatever it is where they're doing a rapid release, that usually indicates that they wrote those books like last year or something. And they just held on to it until they had all of them. And that tactic is actually a tactic out of write, publish, repeat. And so if it works for you, because here's the big trick, if you have the traffic and you have the partners, I mean, there's really 3 things that you need for these things, which is you need email traffic, you need your in-house list, you need partners to everybody hit send. That's your rocket fuel, because it's a finite resource that you could use once. And you use it, if you have enough of it, shoots you up into the stratosphere. And then you follow up with, Amazon the AMS ads, and then you follow up with the Facebook ads. It's kind of like a booster engine. Right.
It's a lot like the old internet marketing days, where you get the joint venture partners and everybody promotes it once, and
it's exactly.
Everybody it hits big, and you milk that cow until it falls over dead.
Oh yeah, I did that a lot. That was the entire
same year.
Yeah, that was the entire team of my original business model, was get friends, hit send, everyone gets paid, let's have a party.
Awesome.
And then I literally went completely away from that. So my entire business, I haven't had one affiliate. So
that's funny. Hey, we've got about 2 minutes left. Let's talk a little bit about what we're going to talk about in upcoming shows, because we're going to do a series of these. They're going to be about a half hour each. If you, the audience, have questions, drop them in the comments below. If you have suggestions that you would like for us to talk about things, feel free to let us know that too. And Johnny and I, we can talk about anything. We can even sound almost intelligent.
Close. I've been working on that in the shower.
Exactly. So coming up, we're going to talk about, we're going to dive a little more into fiction. We're going to dive more into nonfiction, but then we're really going to get into the meat of book marketing. We're going to really go where you are the expert. That's the Facebook ads. We're going to talk AMS. We're just going to try to hit a lot of nails on the head on this show, right?
Definitely, absolutely. Yeah, I think, when we had spoken about this, we're definitely going to dive into, the deep dive on the business model and the mindsets also, because that is at the front of everything. And I know people are like, oh, they're telling me what to do. Like, this is it. Like, if you got it right up here, then the rest of the world kind of falls into place.
Yeah.
And if your ecosystem is conducive to success, guess what? You feed it with traffic and things go well. Whereas if you have, a nonfiction, especially if you don't know where you're going or even why you're anywhere, it doesn't matter how much money you dump into marketing, it's not going to produce the results. So that's what we're going to talk about, with what you were talking about. I'm going to try to weave in as much of that so that when you do execute on these things, it's effective. It produces the outcome you want, which is more sales, more clients, more back end stuff, and a bigger audience.
Yeah, and that's one thing I want folks to realize is we're not just talking theory here. We're talking stuff that both of us have been through, and you more than I have on the marketing side have proven that works because you've got the success stories and you've certainly got the clientele. Johnny Andrews, if they want to know more about you and Author Platform Rocket, in the meantime, where can they go?
Well, for now, just go to Author Platform Rocket, click around and read things, watch movies. It's great.
It's great.
It is.
I love that. Is that your motto? You go to that website and it just says, it's great.
It's great. You'll love it.
All right, buddy. Hey, we will be back on. We're probably going to release these about one a week unless demand forces us to really do more. If not.
I'm good with it. Yeah.
All right. Good deal. Yeah. I like that that bottle behind you. Is that alcohol?
Oh, that's all alcohol. My wife, my wife is one of the highest ranked ladies in the liquor business. So,
wow.
Have you heard of Fireball?
I have heard of Fireball.
Well, that's why.
Is that right?
She's good at what she does. Yeah.
We're gonna have to talk offline here. 300
to 1,200 people underneath. She's at some crazy thing right now.
That's amazing.
Teams and planning and.
Look at you. You came from a 300-pound guy who was homeless to being wealthy with a beautiful family and a wife that invents alcoholic drinks.
Well, she didn't invent it. She just sells the crap out of it.
Wow. Is this a great country or what?
America.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
All right, see you.